Hey guys, I just want to do another sample for you to help you with your ground plans and cutting out your walls because your models are due on Friday this week. So your first step is to create that box onto your graph paper, and then you're going to draw your ground plan on there. So I went ahead and did a ground plan here to help you. So this is a 28 by 28. It has all of the elements that are necessary for the set, 3 doors. The overhead light is the dash blind. I chose to do 2 benches. It has the 2 doors for the bathrooms. It has the door here at the top of the set for good sight lines for the audience. And then I added 2 additional windows so that we would be able to see a light coming in from outside in the thunderstorm. You can also create a ground plan at an angle in your set. This will allow for good sight lines, and you simply draw it the same way as a square, but then you can flip your paper and then slide it into your model. So this would be a very shallow depth for the set design, but it can be that simple as well. Once you have created your ground plan, you want to measure each of these distances with your scale ruler and find out what they are. Now, if you drew them with that in mind, then it's very easy. If you didn't, some of them might end up being a little different length on walls. So there's my 1/4 inch scale, and I'm going to measure that wall, how long it is. And once I've done that, then I'm going to take my piece of paper that I have cut. This is 2 inches, which is 8 foot tall, because we are using that 1/4 inch scale is equal to a foot. And then I'm just going to put a little line as I measure across my set. So you will see here on this design, I have a little tiny wall right down here, and that is this wall right here. So that is a 2 foot distance. So I'm going to measure over and draw a line. Then I'm going to measure up here. What is this distance? I believe that one was 8 feet. So I'm going to measure over another 8 feet, and I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to continue this process all the way across my back wall, doing those lines. All right. Once you have completed that, you're going to take your paper where you had all of your lines drawn, okay, and you're going to cut them. Remember the rule. If it bends to the back, you cut it in the front. If you want it to bend to the front, you cut it in the back. And you create your wall by making your cuts. So just a little reminder there. Cut the walls. If you want it to bend to the back, cut it in the front, and vice versa. Once you have done that, you can take your ground plan, sit it down onto your floor in your model, and take your wall and sit it right onto your ground plan and check to see, how did I do? Did I get it right? So I'm going to show you a shot of that. So you can see here I have the wall and I've bent it and I've just laid it onto my ground plan and it fits. Then my next step would be to create my furniture and lay that down. And then you'll notice on my ground plan where I have my doors, remember the icon for the doors in the bathroom? I would go ahead and just lay my wall down this direction, and I would measure out my door, the height of my door, and then I would just cut right through the wall and bend that little door forward. So that will be the next example I show you. So I've measured my door. I did 6.5 feet tall, and you can see there is the door. Now I'm just simply going to take my X-Acto knife and cut it out and leave the side with the hinges in place. There is the door I've cut out, and that is the sample. So you would do this, but just do that on your back wall here, wherever your doors fall. If it's a window, you can cut a hole all the way through the paper, the size that you need, and that will create the window. Okay, so let's move on to furniture. So I know that I need 2 benches in my set. Those are those two boxes there. We discussed in class that a seat is 18 inches, so I've measured that out on my graph paper. And I traced around it here with the highlighter in hopes that you could see it a little better. So step one would be measure out the size of your bench and draw it. Now I have added not only my 5-foot bench going across here, but I've added the leg supports down here on each side of my bench. So I've measured another 18 inches out all the way around. And then I cut that out. So then my cutout piece looks like this. Once you have done that, take your cutout piece, lie it down on your Bristol board or your cereal box or your poster board, anything that's got some weight to it, and you're gonna trace around that. Once you've done that, you will have your little piece traced on your Bristol board. Then cut this out and we'll score that. Again, if you want it to bend to the front, you cut it in the back. I want my legs to bend down, which is going to go to the back. And that means cut it in the front or on the top. So I'm gonna do that now, and then you'll see my little bench. All right, I've cut my piece out. I've also scored it, so you can see some tiny little lines there on the top, which makes it very easy to then bend and creates your little bench for your model. And then I would just glue this together. On my ground plan, another trick that you can do is simply draw this out, measure that, okay, and create the box, the top and the bottom, and you can build the box. I kind of like this technique with measuring the sides and fold it all in one, and then it would fit right here onto my ground plan, and then becomes three-dimensional once it goes into the model. If you wanted a back on your bench, you would simply cut another piece, whatever height that's going to be, a little rectangle, and you can glue it onto the back of your bench and set that in. I personally am going to leave the backs off because of sight lines and the way I've designed my model, but some of you could add a back. We'd still be able to see over those backs of the benches if you keep your benches to a minimum, like maybe 1 or 2 benches. A whole bunch of benches, it would become a problem. All right, so furniture time. Use the same concept for your bookshelves, for your soda machine, for anything that you need to build that is going to be square. Easy peasy. So the final step is going to be gluing all of these pieces down onto your model and slipping it into your model box. We're going to be working on that on Thursday, and then you'll have Friday to finish everything up and turn it in. They are due at the end of this week. So go team, you can do it. Thanks for your attention today.